Hi, we just watched the trailer for Searching, and I got the heebie-jeebies.
That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Movie Trailer Trash. I'm Bethany.
Oh, and I'm Charlie.
And as Charlie mentioned, we watched the trailer for Searching, ...
I don't think there's a ... in the title.
It looked like it.
That was probably just the loading screen.
Well, it looked like it in the trailer.
Well, yeah, we did watch the trailer for Searching ... And it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Did it give you the heebie-jeebies?
Not really.
It makes my
It doesn't look
skin
very scary to me, but I
feel
think
weird.
it will be. It calls it a thriller.
Well, the very last scene of it, of that portion where he's laying in bed and it calls her, or
She calls him.
she calls him via FaceTime.
His daughter.
That's pretty weird and creepy.
I think it's meant to be somewhat like that movie that everybody is afraid of.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where the camera's set up and you see her sleeping and you see her standing at her bed.
Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, I think that part is reminiscent of Paranormal Activity.
So
Would
you
say
think
so?
that she is a ghost?
No, but would you say so? The way it's filmed.
Well, yeah, the way it's filmed, and actually, let's talk about the way
Okay,
it's filmed.
well, let's talk about what it is first.
It's a movie, so let's
Hang
move
on.
Oh,
No. Okay, it's a movie about a man and his daughter goes missing, but it seems to be that they're showing kind of his life, his family life, her growing up, happy family. Her mom gets sick and dies, but she's in high school, and it seems like they're still fairly close. They FaceTime each other all the time, text each other, and then one morning she's gone.
Right.
And so then at that point, it turns into this search and rescue type of thing. And I think, it's said reminiscent of Hitchcock in there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be scary, but it didn't look scary to me.
And
like
so it
I
goes-
wasn't frightened like I am in most horror movies.
It goes back and forth between, do you think that she just ran away? Was she kidnapped? Is she doing something
She's
else
16
that's
years
even
old, so she could have easily ran away.
that's even more,
She made
bad
a huge
news?
withdrawal, and she got some sort of a fake ID or something.
Yeah, she bought a fake ID somewhere, but that may have just been to buy beer or something like that.
Yeah,
Who knows?
It's
blah,
possible.
Blah, blah.
It's a whole thing. But you know what it reminds me of?
Oh,
Gone Girl.
Gone, girly gone.
Do you remember much of Gone Girl?
I remember that it was probably the most unsettling thing that I've ever seen.
Wow. It's interesting because I read the book. So
And
when
I've
I
seen
think
Human
of it,
Centipede.
Oh, no, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
Oh, God.
I've seen
Um,
a Human Centipede.
Anyway, no. I think that Gone Girl, when I think of it, I think of the book, and I have trouble differentiating between the book and the movie in my mind. They were very similar.
No.
So I'm not sure. Like, because I already knew what was coming, I don't know how unsettling or how creepy it was. But in the book, it's horrifying. The whole thing is like, what is happening? This is so messed up, But it reminds me of that in the way that she was missing, Gone Girl, she goes missing, and something's not right. It's like, this isn't adding up. It looks like the table and all the stuff was broken to make it look like there was a struggle. Like that the cop realizes that right away. Something doesn't add up. It's not
Right.
as simple as you probably killed your wife.
And
it's like,
but also at the same time, all of those things can be easily explained away.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's like,
well,
oh,
that's the thing.
maybe it's
Even
just-
though
I
things
know.
don't seem to add up, at the same time, they find this journal and all these other
Much
things
like
do add up.
this movie, where you could all of the creepy stuff that is happening in the trailer that you're kind of supposed to be like, oh, that's kind of weird. You can explain away, like the ID thing. Like maybe she's just getting a fake ID, like teenagers do.
Well, yeah, she didn't come home after, or she didn't.
She didn't come home. She said
As
that
far
her
as we
study
know.
night was going to go all night, and she left at 9. But she may have just been needing some
That's what I
time
was
to
saying. Maybe
herself.
she left at 9 and was just going to go, well, because supposedly she doesn't have any friends. And that's something that comes up too. So, like, she has like 289 friends on Facebook, it shows. And he's like asking some of her study group about it. And he's like, I don't know. We weren't that close. And he's like, well, you were her friend, right? And he's like, I guess. And he's like, I saw her sitting alone at lunch, and he's like, she was sitting alone at lunch on Thursday, and he's like, no, every day.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because at one point the woman says maybe it's time that you should consider the fact that she might have ran away, and he's like, no, she wouldn't have run away, I know my daughter.
Which,
So the idea is,
But-
how well does he know her?
by the way, the main guy in this, so the dad who's getting most of the screen time, is John Cho, who is
Yeah.
most famous for playing Harold in Harold and Kumar, and
Mhm.
also Sulu in the new Star Trek movies. But he's a
Yep.
really funny and really good actor who
Yeah,
has
he's
been
great.
in a lot of TV shows, like spattered around
Yeah.
throughout whatever. And the detective who he is in contact with, probably for most of the movie, maybe not all, but most, is Deborah Messing, who
yeah,
is
which
most
is cool
famous
because I think
for
she's excellent.
Grace in Will and Grace.
Yeah, so I
and
mean,
that's it.
I think both, but I think both of those people are excellent. I've seen her in some other stuff, and
Yeah,
I
she
know
pops
she
up
has
every
the
once in a while.
ability to be a great actress. She just hasn't been in very many movies. They're both great actors, and I think it's an interesting choice. Like, it's fun because we get to see these two actors we've seen in other roles,
Yeah.
but like they're both main people in this movie, and it looks like an indie movie, is it?
I don't know, but it was at Sundance.
So probably
It was at the Sundance Film Festival, and it won the
Aren't those always indie movies?
the next. So like it's a category. It's like the next audience award. So it won that award, and it won a couple of other awards at different festivals as well. And so yeah, I think so. The person
Usually
who
Sundance, if it's in the Sundance Film Festival, I think that means it is indie.
the person who wrote and directed this movie, this is his first movie,
Mm-hmm.
writing or directing, I think is what it said. But yeah, and so the shtick of this movie is that the entire thing takes place from the camera of a
Phone or
computer
computer.
or smartphone, and so everything is
Well, it
over
looks like
FaceTime.
some of
or-
it is also like at one point they have the security cameras from the lunchroom.
but that's on YouTube. I think he's watching that on YouTube.
Why would that be on YouTube?
Wait, the security cameras
Yeah,
from
it's
the
like
lunchroom? I don't
showing
remember
her
that
sitting
part.
alone. He's like, I saw her sitting alone, and then it shows.
No, that
her.
was someone just took a picture of her with their phone.
Why.
No, it was someone's like picture that they were taking of themselves
Oh,
at lunch.
I didn't notice that they were
A
taking
selfie,
It,
the-
it
as
didn't
the
look
kids
like a
say.
selfie.
A selfie picture.
Well, then I was distracted because I didn't see anybody in it.
A
I just saw her.
selfieograph.
Anyway, but it also shows them at the lake and stuff. It's not all first person point of view.
No, it's all stuff that takes place on a computer or smartphone.
What about when they're at the lake?
She is casting herself. Or
No. When the cops are pulling her car out of the river or
that's
the lake.
someone watching that on the news channel's website or YouTube.
So does it say that that's the shtick, or are you just imagining this?
It said that the entire thing takes place from a smartphone or computer's point of view,
That's weird.
or computer screen or whatever. So all of the stuff is happening based on what other cameras have seen,
Okay.
which is, part of it. And so you get to see what John Cho is seeing on his screen. So like he's checking his email and all of that other stuff.
looking through her Facebook,
Looking through
trying
clues
to get
and things, and you also get to see him because his FaceTime camera is always on, so that you get to see him.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it must have just been I'm guessing they're just gonna make it a thing that him and his daughter always FaceTime.
Right.
Because I think there are some people who do that, but the majority of people don't FaceTime unless there's somebody in
I
another
see
country.
people walking down the street with that open
Really?
and talking to people on their phone, just like in the
That's so
middle of the
weird.
street. Not in the middle of the street. In the middle, just like walking down on the sidewalk, just like having a conversation with someone with their phone, holding it up in front of
Well,
their
maybe
face.
that person is like living across the ocean. That's what I'm saying. Like the only reason that it makes sense
Oh.
to me. Oh God, sorry, I bumped the table. The only reason that it makes sense to me that people would FaceTime on a regular basis is if that person is not somewhere where they can actually see their face.
It's
ever.
free if you have to pay for minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. So like, if that person
But if you have to pay for minutes, you probably have to
lives-
pay for data.
If that person lives across the ocean, it might be the freest option. Also, it might be the
Freest.
best option to see their face when you miss them. But when it's just like people FaceTiming their friends, like I think maybe young people do that. I don't know.
Also, there were a couple other things in here that I had never seen before. There was something where, what is that? Cast, whatever.
Cast.
There was something where she was filming herself in front of the lake, and she's like, "This is the best place to go to get away to do nothing." And it was on some website, and I probably sound really old right now. There
No,
was like,
I
was
just
like a
assumed
pi-
maybe it was its own thing on the.
it may have been, maybe it was supposed to be Snapchat or something. I don't know.
I thought it was maybe just YouTube, but did
No,
it say
it was
something?
like a purple and green logo, and it
Oh.
said cast, and you like they had saved casts and stuff like that. Maybe I should look it up, see what it is. Maybe you
Yeah.
can just like put videos of yourself.
Yeah, or maybe it was
out
just
there.
invented for this, an app invented for this
Maybe
movie.
it's possible.
Well, for those of you out there that are listening, if you know what Cast is and if you use it, hit us up on Twitter at MTT Podcast and let us know. Be like, dude, Guys, come
Guys.
on. This is what cast is.
This is how you cast, you
if
old
you're sitting there
fogs.
angrily yelling at your radio or headphones or whatever you're listening to this on, just go ahead and type us up a message.
Yeah, so this entire movie in general looks really suspenseful and really well done also. And it
What-
looks like John Cho is kind of going to be unraveling the
Oh, yeah.
entire time.
Definitely.
So from start to finish,
Part of why it
unraveling.
reminds me of Gone Girl.
And I mean, there was a really, really, I don't know, what's the negative of over exaggerated?
What do you mean?
What's the
You got to tell me what you're talking
Under
about. so that I can-
exaggerated, underplayed. There was a headline for this trailer that the only thing the headline said was John Cho is worried about his daughter in new searching trailer. I was
A
like,
very,
that's
like-
really underplaying what the whole movie is really about.
Yeah.
He's just worried about his daughter.
I can't think of the word you're looking for, but I know what you mean. Like understated? Understated.
Understated.
At least that's an actual thing.
I always feel like
Underplayed is not a
understated
thing.
is a like a positive thing.
Yeah, but nonetheless.
Like she has a really understated elegance to her.
Anyway. Okay, so as far as like Gone Girl, so in Gone Girl, first the wife goes missing. It's very scary and he doesn't know what's going on, right? But then the cops come, then he realizes he's going to be a suspect and that freaks him out a little bit. And then things just get worse and worse and he starts to unravel more and more and he's
Yeah.
finding these clues and the clues are making him more and more confused and upset, right? I think that's how this is going to be because I mean, he's a father. I'm sure there's been a million times in his life where he's been worried about his daughter. And he has learned not to just panic the second she doesn't text him back. So he's like, he calls her and he's like, okay, whatever. He texts her. He's like, hey, I saw you left. Hope you're
Yeah.
okay. Then, later he's like, why did you leave your laptop?
Mm.
She needs that for school. So he's starting to worry. And then, next thing you know, he calls.
Do you bring your laptop to school in high school now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine so. You bring it to school and college.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense.
And they give kids tablets or laptops in elementary school.
Okay, go on.
Keep. But yeah, so he starts to worry more about her, and then he calls her study group, and they're like, "No, she was gone at 9." And he's like, "What?" And then it just keeps going, and then the lady, this is the thing, Deborah Messing.
Lady.
Anyway, Deborah Messing comes in and talks to him, and she's like looking at his computer screen. And she's like, "Okay, will you tell us anything, any information you get, you let us know."
Mm.
And this is where it gets interesting because I think that there's something afoot.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Deborah Messing is a good person. I don't think she's on his side. I think it's maybe a Stranger Things situation where they're like, "Oh, we found his body. He's dead." And it's like, "What? You're not going to let me go look at it?" "Nope, that's him. I swear. That stuffed animal on the table is your son." Like,
Well, there
what?
was there's a whole bunch of that
Some sort of
where
weird conspiracy thing.
there's a lot of people and things like so news stories that have heard a podcast I was listening to called Atlanta Monster, where it was talking about the child kidnappings of Atlanta in the 80s, I think.
Oh, wow.
And so much of it was people saying how like the police and whoever would just say
They ran away.
they probably just ran away.
Yeah.
And that
It
would
was
be
just
it.
kind of nonchalant, like, "Sorry, kids ran away. What can we do?"
And
There's nothing we can do about it. It's
in
like,
this
what?
time, that's less likely of an answer because of how much everyone has to be online. And
Well,
in
yeah,
the,
and
in
also,
the cloud.
but also just in general,
In the cloud, man.
even if a kid did run away, we wouldn't be like, "All right, well, they ran away, so we're not
Right.
going to look for them." Like, it doesn't matter. They're a minor. They need to be found and taken care of and
Yeah.
be safe.
And then I was gonna ask you, this one's a little bit different because it's just basically is the point of view of this one guy's computer.
Search. Yeah, his search.
But how do you feel about most found footage movies of the ones you've seen?
I really, really like Chronicle,
So Chronicle's a really good one. A lot of
but
people
it kind of has a cheat.
right. And so the Chronicle, the kid gets superpowers and he's able to levitate the camera.
So he can get it
Around
from
him.
any angle. So it's not as much of found footage anymore.
And then Chronicles,
it's still cool, though. It's still really cool.
its reason for having a camera is kind of weird.
He's just into cameras.
No, his dad is abusive, and so he wants to film everything so that his dad stops
Oh, so
being
he can
abusive.
like take care of his mom.
Right. And so he just like buys this like really nice camera.
But he
and
doesn't
starts
really
filming
talk
everything.
about like they're like, what's with the camera? Is this your thing now? And he's kind of like, yeah.
they do that.
Like
They
I'm
do
just
that
saying, he's also
very
just a
early
little
on.
weird though.
Yeah.
Like he takes it with him to school. His dad's not
And
at
so
school.
there's that before he gets
He's a lonely person.
be able to levitate it. It's a little shaky and stuff like that, and people get
And
bothered
it,
by
well,
that.
and it like shows him in the mirror. Like,
I really
that's how you see
love
him.
found footage movies because I like the way that they have to solve problems of not
Yeah.
just being able to be right where the person is, and kind of the
You're not omniscient as a
tenseness
viewer. You
that
can't.
it
You don't know
causes.
everything.
so specifically Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, never seen that.
There's a really great. There's a
plan
couple
on
of really great parts in it where something insane happens off screen.
Yeah, and you don't know.
And the
what.
guy drops the camera and runs off screen, and you hear some stuff happening, but it's like the tenseness of just seeing an unmoving room
Yeah, like the wall.
while other stuff is happening in a different location. It's really scary to me, and I think it works really well. This one I don't think will be like that.
No. Well, okay, hang on. So then let's name some other ones just out of curiosity. So there's the Blair Witch Project that was pretty
Yeah,
famous. And that's
that's
the one
probably
that's
the
super
most
famous
famous
for shaky.
one.
Because people hated how shaky it was.
Cloverfield, which when
People
I went
hated
and
that
saw
too.
that, people that I went with had to leave because they got sick.
See, I've never seen that one. I saw the end of the Blair Witch Project on accident one time.
On accident?
I was just like, what's this? Like flipping through channels, and I thought it was like some sort of documentary.
And then there's
So
Chronicle.
that got real scary at the end for me, not knowing what I was watching.
You thought it was a documentary,
I
and
did.
it ended up being Blair Witch Project.
Exactly, and it's kind of funny because they meant for it to kind of seem that way.
Right.
But I mean, I think I figured out pretty quickly, like when it was nighttime and they started freaking out, I was like, oh, I think this is that movie Blair Witch Project, like because I had heard
Right.
enough about it. But yeah, for a little bit there, I was like, ooh, this is interesting.
And also, by the same way that they have to get creative with their shots and how that can be kind of cool, it can also be kind of lame,
Or
like
limiting.
in where you have to make like a loose excuse for having cameras around. So in Chronicle, during one of the climactic scenes,
the fight scene,
he steals a bunch of people's cell phones and hovers them around him
because
so that
he wants to be seen. I
because he
guess.
wants to be recorded,
wants-
I guess, on video or whatever. And so that's
well,
where
people
the
were recording
cameras,
him anyway.
right? And so that's where the camera is coming from. They want to, and so he's floating them around him, which is kind of dumb. But
Yeah, but also
right
you
after
can
that,
make up for it.
they
You can
have
be
a
like, he was
big
lonely.
fight scene that goes through the city of Seattle and is crashing through buildings and stuff, and it's switching between security camera and
And news
security
cameras,
camera
too.
and news cameras, and all of that is really cool and interesting.
It's so good, you guys. If you have not seen Chronicle, check it out.
Check it out.
Seriously.
It's one of my faves.
Michael B. Jordan was in it,
Michael B. What?
and I think it was like his second or third movie. He's so great. That's the first movie I ever saw him in, and I was like, he plays the popular kid, and immediately I was like, oh, this guy's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he's so special, but then like he keeps acting, and you're like, wait, I actually love him and think he's the best. Like he's just so convincing
So yeah,
as that character.
it's
good.
The found footageness of stuff can change between good and bad.
Yeah,
but
it
I
doesn't
think it's
bother me.
I think it's
if
a
it's
good,
a good movie.
It's a cool risk to take. I
Yeah,
think.
and I think that it all just the biggest, most important thing is the story interesting and is the acting good. And then as far as that, it's more of just a gimmick. It's a thing that they're doing for fun to see if they can. And as long as the acting is good and the story's good, you'll forgive the little things, you know?
So let's move on to where, when, and how you're going to see this movie.
Okay.
Where? When? How?
Are you going to see this movie? All right, where, when, and how you're going to see this movie. It's called Searching. John Cho's in it, Deborah Messing's in it, and it's a found footage thing. It's actually less of a found
Thanks for
footage.
the recap.
Less of a found footage, more of a point of view.
Yeah.
Because it's not
First person
supposed to
point of
be
view.
it's not supposed to be like a story that was told afterward that
No,
you're
yeah.
seeing. It's supposed to be something that's happening
In
from
front
this
of you,
point of view.
unfolding in front of you, yeah.
All right, so where, when, and how are you going to see it?
You know, I don't know. I think I'm going to see it in the theater.
Oh.
Because you know that I love to support indie films if they are good. If they look good, I want to go and support them in theater, like The Big Sick and others.
What's that? No, The Big Sick was Amazon.
Oh, well, never mind. I just wanted to support that awesome writer.
I just wanted to see that movie, to be honest.
Yeah, but anyway, well, what's another one? There's others.
Yes, there are others.
Mud.
We saw Mud in theaters.
That was great.
We saw Swiss Army Man in theaters.
That was unfortunate. But you know, like I like
the
to
way
support,
back in theaters.
I
We
like to
saw
support
Kings of
indie-
Summer in theaters.
I like to support indie films if I can and if they look good. And this one looks really good. I don't like scary movies, but I like thrillers.
Right.
I don't like horror, I guess I should say.
This is way more of a thriller.
This is way
than
more of a thriller, and
anything.
it reminds me so much of Gone Girl. And there's something, the reason I love thrillers, like not just movies, but like most of the books I read are thrillers, and it's because I love,
Michael Jackson.
no.
Oh.
No, it's because I love I love the challenge to the writer. So I'm a writer, and I like to think about how well a story is written. And so like with Gone Girl, Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, is a genius. And as the book is unfolding in front of me, or the movie, you're
Which,
just...
by the way, they're
there's-
doing a HBO miniseries on her other book, her Sharp Objects book.
Yeah. But as it's unfolding in front of you, there's revelation after revelation. And you think you are understanding it. And then maybe something was wrong and it was a twist. You know, like, it's amazing to me to watch how somebody gives you suspense and makes you worry and wonder.
Well, and
it's
this
it's
movie,
a challenge, and I think it's cool.
I feel like is going to be amazing at doing the the revelation thing, because just in the trailer, after it says like she took $2,500 out of her bank account the day before she disappeared, and like they already set it up to the point where you're like, she wouldn't do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well,
like,
she just seems like such a nice
like
kid.
in your head, you're already watching this like family.
Well,
and
because they
stuff.
show him, yeah, that's the thing, is they show her growing
Yeah.
up. They show her playing the piano and laughing and giggling with her mom and dad. You follow her, and she seems like such a sweet girl. She cares about her dad.
And then right after that thought, you're just like, wait, I don't know anything about
Yeah.
this person.
Well, and
at
that's
all.
what I love too, is the idea of how well do you really know people, just in general. When you aren't with them, do you really know who they are?
And
you could do that with
imagine
anyone,
that
even
in this
every
movie,
family member.
when you're like, if you were a parent and you
It would
were
freak
seeing
you out,
this
man.
movie, it would freak you out.
Especially if you had a
but
teenage
It
kid.
would probably freak you out in the same way that you would probably have anxiety every once in a while. That's just like, I have no idea what's happening when they're not here.
Yeah.
They could
you
be
already have
a
had that
completely
thought
different
before.
person. Yeah.
But I think watching this, I think it might be a little scarier for parents who have kids around that age, especially. Because, I mean, you,
All right, so
you have to trust them to a certain extent.
You're gonna see
I
it
want
in
to see
theaters.
it. I want to see it in theater. We have Movie Pass, so
It comes out in August.
I don't see myself like buying a ticket in advance. You know, it's not going to be hard to get a seat.
Probably not.
You know, it's a smaller movie. I want to see it. I could see seeing it at Alma Draft House and get a nice quiet theater.
Okay.
If people understand what they mean when they say seriously no talking on the screen, because the last movie I went to,
Oh boy.
right after it said seriously no talking, the group of 10 girls to my left were
10
giggling
girls?
and laughing, and we're all looking at each other like, did they not literally just hear the extremely loud music and warning about how you can get kicked out? Anyway, sorry for the rant.
Yeah, I think I'm
Alamo.
gonna go see it in theaters as well. I don't know if the bigger theaters will be showing this one,
That's true. But Alamo likes to show indie films,
but we
when
have
it
a
can
few
in a small
movies
theater.
around here that show indie films. Alamo usually dedicates a theater or so to
Yeah.
showing it.
Especially if they're
There's the
winning
both
awards, like it won
Screenland
awards.
ones
there's
that
Tivoli.
shows them. Yeah, there's another. Yeah, that one's really small.
There's Tivoli and there's Glenwood Arts. So
Glenwood
all
Arts.
of those around Kansas City, we've got the theaters. It'll be somewhere. And I think
If FX has the movies, we have the theaters.
I think for real that most major cities will have a theater, at least one theater that'll probably show this. You know, like
Yeah, I think
Columbia,
so.
Missouri has
It helps that it has recognizable
That
main
one theater.
characters as well.
what's that one theater? 9th Street. Ragtag.
Ragtag.
Shout out to Ragtag.
Maybe we'll
Theater
go to
in
Columbia and watch this one.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
All right, so let's move on to Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
Wow, that's not how you say that word.
Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
All right, Rotten Tomatoes. This is a tough one. It is an indie film, but you said it was winning awards.
I shouldn't have said that. I
At
tipped
some
you
of
off.
the Sundance things and such.
Uh,
In the circuit.
the circuit, the festival
the
circuit.
festival circuit. I think it's going to do really well. I'm going to say on Rotten Tomatoes, when it comes out for everyone, it'll probably get about an 89%. That's pretty high.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but that's pretty dang high.
I'm going to say, yes, also fairly high, but I'm going to say an 83%. as of right now, the only people who have seen it are people, and I think that there are some reviews out for it, are people who have seen it at festivals and stuff like that.
And they're
so
going for that.
they were in the frame of mind to be open to this. I think that a decent amount of the critics will just hate the gimmick of the point of view.
I hope that it's super, super good.
I do too.
Because here's the thing.
The trailer makes it look really good. So like go watch the trailer if you haven't
yeah,
already.
definitely. I mean, here's the thing. Something that we haven't mentioned that I think is important is this entire movie, the main two characters are Asian Americans. And
Deborah Messing's not Asian.
I was talking about him and his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But no, think to yourself for a moment.
Although you never know, maybe she's part
But
Asian
listen,
somewhere
for real,
down the line.
Think to yourself for a moment, what is the last movie you saw where the main character was Asian? It's hard. I mean, I know that we recently watched those Jackie Chan movies.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but for real.
The newest Jackie Chan movie. The Foreigner.
The newest one, exactly.
Yeah, The Foreigner.
And that's great. And I would never say that a Jackie Chan movie doesn't count because it does. He's amazing, and
But also,
he
one of our
deserves
main
every penny that I've ever given
one
him.
of our main gripes of that movie was that he wasn't the
he
real
wasn't
main
really
character.
the main character.
Pierce
And I was
Brosnan
actually kind of
was.
pissed about that. It was a great movie, by the way. The Foreigner.
I don't know about great.
Let's say
movie.
good. It was a good movie,
It
by the
was
way.
a fine movie.
It was fun, and it's worth it to see Jackie Chan. It's worth it, guys. Don't ever think it's not worth it to see Jackie Chan. All right, I'm getting off topic. But in it, we were disappointed because literally every poster, every commercial for that trailer, for that movie, it was Jackie Chan. It was like, this movie about Jackie Chan, his daughter dies. It's like, we thought it was going to be like the Jackie Chan version of Taken. And instead it was like a, government conspiracy type movie about Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
And Jackie Chan was just like an irritant, a guy that was getting in the way of his investigation.
Yeah.
Like, what? How dare you? But that's the point. That's the point I'm making is I think it's amazing that there's this movie that looks like it's really well written and the main character is an Asian American. And that's awesome. Actually, you know what? Back up. We forgot about the Big Sick.
Well, yeah, he's
Asian.
Pakistani, I think.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I thought he was Indian. Regardless. The point is you don't get a lot of Asian American actors in roles really at all. Like, they are very underrepresented.
Maybe. No one quote me on that.
No, he is Pakistani.
Or anything that I ever say.
No, he is Pakistani. I remember that. They had a bunch of special food at Alamo Drafthouse for that.
Oh,
movie.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
But no, the thing is, in fact, I think in the movie somebody says he's Indian. And he's like, I'm Pakistani. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that that's something I've noticed recently. Like, we actually had a whole conversation about that. I was like, how many Asian American actresses and actors can you think of that are like up and coming or young? And most of the ones we could think of were just like older actors like Jackie Chan and Lucy Liu. Like, people, I mean, there's that woman who was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, there's a few, but it's not, they are very underrepresented.
There's
in Hollywood.
Daniel Wu.
Also, they're not only underrepresented, but they're almost always stereotyped. Like, and that's a joke in
They always do karate.
yeah, or something, or
In
they're
fact,
always violinists.
Don't they make that joke in the new Star Trek movies?
I don't
Where
know.
he had, I think that they make that joke where he had fight training. So like in his profile, Sulu had fight training, and
Sulu.
New Kirk. That's John Cho. Is Sulu.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go on.
And New Kirk.
Oh, did you say Star Trek? I thought you said Star
Yeah.
Wars. My bad.
And New Kirk is just like, I thought you had fight training. And he was just like, he's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, I thought it was in karate or something. And he's like, no, it's in fencing. And so, and it's funny because he does that fencing in the show
Yeah.
where he's like, he has his shirt
Yeah.
off and he.
But yeah, but I think that's something we didn't talk about until just now, but I think it's really important because in this movie, he just plays a regular dad who's worried about his daughter. He doesn't play, some overly stereotyped
John
character.
Cho is worried about his daughter
But
in the new
yeah,
trailer.
I mean, he is worried. But that happens. Like, they joke about that in Master of None, how much people of color are stereotyped in casting calls, where they'll show up and it'll be like Aziz Ansari and a bunch of other Indian actors, and they'll be playing the role of the taxi cab driver, and they'll be like, can you make it more Indian? Can you really play up your accent? Like, and how offensive that is, like, they just want to be actors. They want to be regular people in regular roles because that's who they are. They're regular people. And actually, I just read this article the other day that said Michael B. Jordan told his agent that he does not want to try out or audition for any part that is written for a black person. And he was saying, if it's written that way, they've already come in with their own preconceived notion of what that means, what it means to be black. He said, I want to go in for a role, and what it means to be black, I am black, so I'll bring what it means to the character. Like, I'll choose how the character portrays
Pretty sure that
himself.
Eric Killmonger was written as a black man.
Well, it's not that. He's saying written for, well, and first of all, he might have told this to them after that. Second of all, if you're asked to be a superhero, you're not going to say no.
And Apollo Creed's son.
Well, yeah, but it's not. That's different. It's not like some new story that somebody's like, this guy has to be a black person.
Hey,
His
he did
dad
that with
was a
that
black
terrible
person.
Fantastic Four movie.
Exactly. He was like, he wants to try out for all the roles, for any role, any lead character, anything. He wants to.
Which, by the way, even if
he doesn't want
that
to be
movie
stereotyped
was
and cast stereo.
not the
typecasting.
worst thing in the world, he's way too cool to be Johnny Storm.
Yeah, you're right.
Johnny Storm is the worst. Sorry. Just me and Vin get on this all the time.
You and your brother.
And Johnny Storm is just so
Annoying.
annoying
Right? That's the
and
thing.
bad at what he does and just boring and just he's
Well,
terrible.
anyway, but no, okay.
Sorry,
but
yeah, go on.
But I think it's interesting because I discussed it with my friends at the time, and I was saying like it also makes sense because if you get typecasted as the person who always plays the overly stereotyped black person, then you continue to always be cast as that person.
Yeah.
And I told you about this when I saw the movie Breaking In, and I was saying the movie wasn't incredible, but Gabrielle Union did an amazing job, and I love that she wasn't playing an overly stereotyped caricature of a black person because a lot of times she is cast in those type of roles. And in this one, she was just a mother who was worried about her kids. So there you go. That's one thing we all have in common, no matter where you're from. If you're a parent, you worry about your kids.
You have a crippling anxiety about your
No,
children.
I didn't say that.
Oh, that's what I said?
Well, I mean, if there's bad guys and they're trapped in a house with them, like in Breaking In.
Maybe it was all in her head.
I don't think so. That's not how the movie played it. I saw the movie. I'll say no.
All right. Well, in general, you should go see this one. It looks to
great.
be really good. And
I want to see it.
if you want to follow us, you can go to our Twitter and you can go at MTT Podcast. You can go to our website, mttpodcast.com. You can go see us on Facebook. Search Movie Trailer Trash Podcast. And you can also go to our Instagram at Movie Trailer Trash.
Also, just wanted to apologize. We've been gone for a couple weeks, but that's because we're working on something that we're going to be doing in the Kansas City area. So Kansas City listeners, keep an ear open, and we'll let you know when we get everything worked out, all the details worked out.
Special announcement. Pow, pow, pow.
Probably coming soon.
Whoop.
So, thank you for listening. We love you. Tell your friends. Rate and review. And as always, you can also check out Entertainment Buffet, our buddies on the web.
On the web, on the interwebs. Bye, everybody.
Bye.